It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and New York City. And this is news that you can use from CarEdge for Tuesday, June 18th, with your host, who apparently got the memo. It's White T-Shirt Tuesday. Me, Ray, and, well, the guy actually repping the CarEdge stuff, Zach. How are you today, handsome?
Doing great, Pops. Happy Tuesday to everyone. One more day of my setup here in New York, and then we're back to normal. Today's show is brought to you by us, CarEdge.com. If we can help you out buying a car using our car buying service, we have the tools, we have the What's My Car Worth, the warranty and protection. Go check it out. Today's show brought to you by CarEdge.com. And every once in a while, Dad, we get some real industry experts on this show. We're going to be talking about how used car prices are tanking, everyone. Who better than Brandon from Car Questions Answered to bring in to talk about that? Brandon, how are you?
Yo, doing good. This is always my favorite thing to do. Love coming on the show. Hope you guys are doing well.
I've got the data lined up, Pops and Brandon, but maybe we'll start with the anecdotes. Dad, am I over the top with used car prices tanking? Brandon, am I over the top? Let's see.
Well, I'll go first. Yes, you are. If you're not over the top, then people are going to wonder what the hell's wrong with you. As my headlines suggest, there are days I would like a tank, but I think you're talking about prices and not tanks themselves.
Brandon,
for the title, I would say absolutely used car prices are tanking. What I'm seeing at auction is just prices just continue to go down, just a churn downwards. We're able to buy more cars. We're able to buy higher quality cars in our price range, that $5,000 and under. So the piece of pie of available cars that we're able to get is getting greater, which is meaning that prices are moving down. It's not happening fast. It's happening slow, but we are seeing more of that downward pressure at auctions, and I'm really reaping the benefits of that because we're able to buy more cars and better cars.
I mean, if you don't mind me disclosing, Brandon, we'll see if you do afterwards. You sent me a photo of your lot this morning and it's empty. You've been selling out because you're able to get cars and transact them. And I just want to pull up on the screen the data here from Cox Automotive. Wholesale used vehicle prices decrease in the first half of June. That just came out from Cox Automotive. And then Black Book, again, this data just came out today. We saw significant wholesale price declines week over week, another 0.5% decline. So I bring this up because all the data points to car prices, used car prices at the wholesale auctions going down. And then I was talking to you and you sent me that photo, man. And it's like, you're selling them.
Yeah, wow. That's my lot right now. So it is empty, except for those 2 oil stains. We've sold a lot of cars. So for me to be selling a lot of cars, I don't know if it's an element of, okay, the car market is doing well, there's people spending money, or is it an element of, okay, people can't afford these higher monthly payments, they can't afford to get into this higher range car, so now they're being pushed to my market. It's one of the two. I would think the latter is why we're doing so well right now. Would be my guess. I mean, bad economy is good for our business. Good economy is good for our business. People always need the cheaper range of cars, but it seems like in the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've actually really picked up what we've been selling.
Is it really tanking or is it correcting?
It's all perspective. So you have to look at where you're coming from. If you want to say from the peak to here, then it's prices have already crashed. But if you want to look at 2019 to here, we're up still, right? So it's all perspective. Zach's right, you're right, I'm right, everybody's right. Just depends on where your starting point is.
I was just curious because, Black Book indicates that at least historically, last week, when you compare it to pre-COVID weeks, that the rate of depreciation was more than double what it was prior to COVID. But we're still well above where we were prior to COVID. Yes, the wholesale values are coming down, you have a better finger on the pulse than I do, Brandon. Are we seeing that in other segments of the market, not necessarily your segment, but at other dealers? Are we seeing retail prices coming down?
So here's the argument against even all three of us. What we're saying is that, okay, this happens every single year. Like, we're after tax time now,
Yes.
and this during summer prices go down. This is what happens every single year in the car market. This is the natural ebbs and flows of what happens. Prices get really high, get really stupid during tax time. They trend down throughout summer. They pop up again in September, October, and then they tank. And that's literal, like every single year. November, December, January, prices hit rock bottom as far as what they're going to see all year. So maybe you call it a correction, but it's a correction that happens every single year. I'm not seeing anything really out of the ordinary, other than hearing what's going on at these new franchise dealers. If we had used car inventory, then we'd probably see a lot more downward pressure. But because these franchise dealers aren't selling a lot of their vehicles right now, we're not getting trade-ins. Used car market is probably just going to be business as usual until we get inventory.
At the new car dealers you visit, are any of them mentioning that they have more lease returns this year than they have had in the past?
I haven't really talked about leases all that much. When I go and ask them questions, like the auction owners, or if I go to these franchise managers, the ones that I've interviewed, leasing is not one of the things that I talk about a whole lot, just because I don't know a whole lot about it. So that's not one thing I dive into. They have mentioned it, but the biggest thing for them is negative equity is a big time problem. And the other thing, lending is becoming a problem, getting people into loans. And they all complain about the same thing. MSRPs are too high. We need cheaper cars.
Can I pull something up for both of you to look at that I think touches on the negative equity piece and also starts to paint the picture of how the used car market is different depending on not only make and model, but powertrain? This comes from Cox Automotive. This is the same used car market update from them. Price change year over year for selective market classes. The total used car market, wholesale used car market, is down 8.5% year over year from June 18th of 2024 compared to June 18th of 2023. Luxury cars are down 10%. Compact cars are down 11.2%. Mid-size cars are down 10.1%. Pickup trucks are down 7.5%. SUVs and CUVs, crossover vehicles, are down 9.2%. And then electric vehicles are down 17%. Non-electric vehicles are down 8.9%.
Can I ask a silly question looking at that chart? When you look at all those segments, just about every one of those segments was a greater decline than the industry average. How could that be?
Pickups, baby, pickups. What do you make of this, though, Pops and Brandon? I mean, it is pretty clear that there's two different types of depreciation going on right now. There's depreciation for electric vehicles and there's depreciation for non-electric vehicles. And EVs are obviously taking more of a hit.
Yeah, I'm absolutely seeing that on the EV side. I have recently, in the last couple of months, started looking for a Tesla for myself. I want to buy a used one. I want to see how it holds up, what happens to it. I'll make some content. I want to see if people's perceptions of EVs are real or not. I want that experiment. I'll throw some money at that. So I've been seeing EVs fall off a cliff. And another reason why I've been okay with throwing some money at this is because, like, these Tesla Model S's I'm looking at, like 3 and 4 year old Model S's are like 50% of what they sold for new at this point. So yeah, and you have Hertz that's throwing a bunch of Model 3s into the system. I tried to buy a few of those a few weeks ago. I showed that to you, Zach, and they no sold all of them. I was the high bidder on all 3 of them, and all 3 no sold.
Wow.
So I don't know what they're doing, if they're not trying to crash the market by just dumping them to bidders at these auctions. But I tried to buy some, and they wouldn't sell them to me.
Well, you just have to pay more than what you wanted to.
All right.
Maybe they're looking at you and going, "What's wrong with this guy? Why won't he pay enough?" and you're thinking, what's wrong with them? Why won't they take less? Maybe you kids could meet somewhere in the middle.
I think it's fascinating that Hertz, that obviously went all in on electric vehicles, is now bleeding because of how massively they're depreciating. Yet they're still trying to, I guess, minimize their losses. But every day that car's sitting there, it's costing them money. It's a really tricky position for a lot of these, both like dealers, for example, the Ford dealers who ponied up $1 million to become Ford EV certified dealers that are no longer, there's no longer a certification program, or Hertz and other examples that spent billions. What was the Hertz commitment? It was billions. It was tens of billions. It was an insane amount of money for the EV fleet they were going to build out, that obviously they're now liquidating, but they're trying to almost like pinch pennies as they're doing the liquidation sale.
Brandon, you in your area, there's a large CarMax store that's a distribution point for that part of the country. How is their business seen? Have you been to their lot recently?
So I went there last night. It's interesting that you point out the EV segment of the used cars, but every time I've gone to this CarMax, I want to look and see how many EVs they have. And last time I went, they only had like 1 or 2 on their lot, and I have never seen that few there. I have usually seen 10 to 20. So I'm almost wondering, with the prices of EVs being so volatile, and Elon doing a lot of price cuts, Hertz doing this whole thing, I wonder if CarMax is pulling back from trying to buy EVs, or just offering consumers that bring them in almost nothing, or maybe they're just dumping them straight to their auctions. But I've seen that fewer EVs on CarMax's lots.
Wow.
We see that in the offers, Brandon. We have the What's My Car Worth back on CarEdge.com, and people hit us up and they're like, hey, why is Carvana only offering this for my Ford Mustang Mach-E?
It's probably what CarMax is doing too. They're probably just offering these consumers absolutely nothing, so the consumer's not selling it to them.
Which then exacerbates the negative equity situation, which we know is at the worst it's ever been before, over $6,000. And that's the data from Q4 of 2023 was the negative equity situation then.
And I would think if I were CarMax or Carvana, or I were a regular franchise dealer and somebody brought in a EV that they wanted to trade, with the EV market being as volatile as it is at the moment, I think I would instruct my sales managers, if you can't steal it, don't trade it. I mean, if you can't get it for a ridiculously low value, because we don't know where these values are going to end up, don't trade it. It's not our fault somebody bought it.
On the negative equity data that you're looking at, do they break out ICE versus EV?
No.
I would be interested to see what the negative equity on EVs is right now.
We do know, like, some of the proxy values that we can look at are the average transaction prices for used electric vehicles. We know those have gone down from, it was close to $66,000 was the high watermark for those back in October or September of 22. And now the average transaction price, the latest data we have for electric vehicles, used electric vehicles, is about $32,000 or $33,000. Internal combustion engine used vehicles during that period of time declined from 34 to 32 or somewhere around there. So if that's any type of proxy, you've got to imagine people that own electric vehicles are sitting on tens of thousands of dollars. And we see it anecdotally at CarEdge all the time with our customers. But the data, I don't think anyone will ever publish that data because it'll be shocking. It'll be damning.
It might stop the EV growth altogether.
And then the unfortunate reality, Dad, is customers. The unfortunate reality is customers go into the dealership expecting one value on their trade-in, and then the shock and awe hits them then. It blows up the deal.
I would think, and you guys can agree or disagree with me, but I would think that people who buy an EV buy it with the idea in mind that they're going to keep it for quite some time, so that they can get that fuel savings benefit that helps to compensate for the larger amount that they had to spend to get the damn thing in the first place. I mean, I would be hard pressed to think that EV buyers are just like ICE buyers, and that is, I'm going to finance it for 6 or 7 years, but I really want to get out of it in 3.
I would assume they would try to get out of their EVs quicker and upgrade to a newer one because they are more of an affluent consumer. So that type of consumer will they change cars more often. Am I wrong about that? Or
I just would think on EVs, people always talk about, well, think of the fuel savings. Well, if you paid more to get it, well, you have to keep it a longer time to acquire enough fuel savings to have made it worthwhile.
We're switching gears. This could be a hypothetical for another show. Guys, I want to jump to the chat. Before I do, Brandon, you had a video go out on your channel yesterday. I want to just talk about that for a moment. Folks, if you're unfamiliar, my dad and I started CarEdge 4.5 years ago, and our business has always been about bringing trust and transparency to the car buying process. And to that end, we've built out our car buying service, and we help thousands of people. We've helped thousands of people through that. Our car search has helped tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. We've done a ton of different things over the years at CarEdge. We now have a team of over 50 people that work at CarEdge, and we are excited in the near future to be launching something with Brandon. Brandon, talk a little bit about what you shared in your video the other day and what we're working on together.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do, I mean, Zach obviously is trying to change the way that new cars are being bought, and I want to come in and help him try to change the way that used cars are being bought. So what our idea is that I am able to go buy cars that are 2-3 years old, used, and maybe even newer than that if I can find them. And we want to be the most transparent car buying system on the planet. So what we want to do is list what I pay for them, what my fees are, detail costs, literally line item, everything that I have in the car. So the consumer that's looking at this knows exactly how much we paid for the car, what we've done to the car. And then we even split out, okay, Brandon's going to make $3,000 on this car, whatever the number lands at. That's the initial gut number that we're thinking that we're going to roll out with this. And then you have CarEdge. That's I won't speak for you. I don't know what your number is on it. $500. Is what I thought. Yeah. And so you're literally going to be able to see exactly what we're making on the car. And then there's no dock fee. There's no nitrogen. There's no prep fee. You literally know everything that you're paying for before you hit the button to actually buy the car. No negotiation has to happen. You don't have to hire someone to negotiate these cars. Whatever. It's all transparent. It's all there. If you want to buy it, if you think it's a good price, buy it. If you don't buy it. Right. It's right there. And you can see everything that's happening with the car literally on the page in front of you. And the other thing about it, I forgot what the other thing was. Anyway,
the other thing about it is this is one of the first times, I mean, I'll be fully honest. I've been on YouTube, not as someone creating content, but I've been on YouTube since I was 10, 12 years old. I mean, it's been a long time for me. I don't think a lot of people have done this, collaborated with other people that they've met through YouTube to try and actually not just talk about these things, but try and solve them. So I'm really proud of us coming together to do this. So on the CarEdge side, we'll facilitate the transaction. You'll be able to do it online. Obviously, Brandon's dealership is the one fulfilling it. So really excited about that. We don't have an ETA for a launch yet. Our team's still working on everything. Brandon's got some cars already, though, which is perfect.
They literally we have 3 cars that we're going to launch with, maybe 4. I'm still waiting on a title for the 4th. But we have 3 cars that we're definitely launching with just to see what happens, just to make sure the process is smooth, make sure we can fulfill orders, whatever we need to do. Those cars literally just got detailed this morning. Going to take pictures of them this afternoon. So we're close.
Pops, this is your first time hearing about this. What do you make of it?
Well, I'm shocked. I mean, it's the type of stuff that keeps me going when I hear things like this. And the other thing is it goes to show you that my son very rarely shares with me, but that's besides the point. I think it's a wonderful idea. I've always thought that if, for instance, like what we do on our service contracts, it's what, a $600 markup.
Yeah.
So, and everybody knows that up front. And if we're going to have whatever the markup is that Brandon's going to make, you're going to know it up front. and either the price is going to work for you or the price doesn't work for you. And if you're somebody, well, that figures, well, you always have to negotiate a price on a new car or a used car, well, you just ain't going to get to do that on these used cars. It's this should appeal, knowing exactly what Brandon's making. This should appeal to people to know the transparency of it all.
Brandon, it's kind of like CarMax. Listen up. This is kind of like CarMax, man. Like, it's not going to be for everyone, but it's going to be for a lot of people that find it interesting, and it's from people hopefully you can trust. So I'm really proud of us for doing this. And I will say to dealers out there, if you are a dealer like Brandon, if you are honest and trustworthy and transparent and really passionate about this stuff, CarEdge.com/network. Get in touch with me. Get in touch with us. We're happy to have a conversation, but you got to demonstrate those values. And Brandon, tremendous kudos to you. You've spent the past, 2 years now, a year and a half, year plus on YouTube, educating, helping people. So I think this is a tremendous step forward for both of us, and really proud to partner with you on it.
Yeah, and one of the big things too is we are going to have a set rate as far as how much I make on the car. So if I go to an auction and I steal a car, then whoever buys it, they get to steal it. So that's the way I'm going to price it. I'm not going to make 5,000 on one car, 2,000 on another, 3,000. I'm not going to price them like this. I'm literally going to make the same amount no matter what I pay for the car. So here's the flip side. So if I go to the auction and I pay too much for a car, then I'm going to have to sell it for too much. So if a customer wants that non-negotiation price, then they're going to have to pay up a little bit for it. So hopefully I'm able to buy these cars good enough to make sense every way. But really the price point is not the selling point of this. The ease is the selling point, and the transparency. And if you want that, that's what we're going to provide for you.
I had an owner that I worked for that used to remind me, and he would say, Ray, just because we stole a car doesn't mean the customer gets to steal the car. And your principle right now is, hey, if I steal a car, the customer gets to steal that same car. And because you're willing to work for a specific markup. End of sentence. Whatever that markup is, that's where the car is going to sell at. And I don't know, that seems kind of fair to me.
Yeah, and the thought behind this, I feel like maybe, I don't know if Zach feels the same way about this. We haven't really discussed this in detail, but I feel like this is more of a service than it actually is selling a product. I know people are going to be able to go in there and look, say, okay, I want a Honda HRV, I want a Honda Civic, or I want a Toyota Camry. They'll be able to decide between those kind of cars, but it's more of, okay, I'm going to buy cars that I think are good cars. And if you want a good car for a transparent price, this is the kind of service that we're selling for this.
Love it. Love it. Really excited. Stay tuned, gang. Not a formal announcement by any stretch, but it's coming soon. We'll let you know. Guys, we got to jump to the chat here.
May I say one thing first? Mm-hmm. On the day it's a formal announcement, well, we'll all be wearing nicer shirts.
Love it. From Cloapo here. Thank you, Cloapo. In Tampa, and dealers are overflowing with internal combustion engine cars to the point they are using customer parking outside on the grass and sidewalks. How the heck are they still in business, let alone their electric vehicles? How long can this last, man? How long can these dealers just hold on to this inventory? We all see it, just drive down Dealership Row. There's more cars, more inventory. How long can it last, Pops?
Till their credit lines run out. That's how long it can last.
Ties with Igor's comment right here. I'm buying mostly dealer repoed cars at the auction, not consumer repoed cars. And I'm seeing plenty of both. Dealers get their cars repoed. That's what you were just describing, Dad.
Yes. Yeah. So that's how long it can last. Once the banks say enough is enough, then the dealers are going to either have their cars sold on their behalf at the auctions, or they'll just start selling them for less to customers.
Yeah, and I put out an auction video a few weeks ago where I literally showed some cars that on the where the seller line was, it said floor plan. So I'm seeing them literally at the auction. They're going through. They say floor plan on them because those dealers could not make those payments. So the floor plan representatives that I've talked to said that what they do is they'll go and pick up the cars, and they will help these dealers sell their cars. And what they mean by help is,
Yes.
okay, we're just going to dump them at auction, and whatever they bring, okay, you got to pay us the difference.
This market
That's
has
how long
changed
it'll
a
last.
lot.
Yeah.
This market has changed a lot in the past 2 years. From Joe K, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
What is a dealer's preferred method for down payment? Check, bank check, credit card. Pops?
Check, cash, bank check, credit cards they usually limit how much of a credit card they'll take, because if they take a check or a bank check, there's no fees associated with that. But the transaction fees for the credit card, that costs the dealer about 3%. So most
That's what
dealers
we pay.
hate credit cards.
Yeah, so dealer's going to want check or cash. That would
Yeah.
be the preferred
Yes.
method. Joe, probably check. Don't walk in there paying cash for a car with 50 grand in a duffel bag. Joseph, thank you, Joseph, for the contribution. 2023 leftover, $1,000 off MSRP and 0.9% APR, or the same model that was put into the dealer loaner fleet, 4,000 miles, $4,000 off, but 6.49% APR. What's the better option?
You have to do the math. What's the payment at 0.9? What's the payment at 6.49? What's the total amount that you're going to pay back? And then you have to look at that difference, and whatever that difference is, that'll determine which one's the better deal.
So let's say it's a $50,000 vehicle. We don't actually know what the cost of the vehicle is, but loan term we also don't know, but we know interest rate 0.9, down payment we'll do at 0. We'll do New York just because that's what it defaulted to. So the amount that you're paying in interest on this, $1,305 right
How many
there.
months did you do? 60 months?
60 months.
Okay.
There's a lot of missing pieces of information.
Sure.
Here in this. $46,000 because now we're getting $4,000 off. What was the interest rate, Deb?
6.49.
Oops. I think we just answered the question. If it's a $50,000 vehicle or $46,000 vehicle, your total loan interest is going to be $9,000.
Well, look at the total. Look at the total cost, including interest. It's 61. Yeah. The other was 57. So, take.
Brandon, is this why you only sell under $5,000 cars?
I was waiting for my turn. Okay, how about you don't borrow money on a car? Go pay with cash for one. Yeah.
Come to Brandon's lot.
Maybe that's what we'll call it on the CarEdge website, Brandon's lot. We'll have to see. Yeah, but use those loan calculators because obviously there's a big difference in what you're ultimately
Yes.
Yeah, over the lifetime. And then we've got here from Brian Cooley. So typically, Brandon, this is where my father would dance. I'm happy to exit the screen if you guys would like to go together. More power.
Thank you, Brandon, for keeping your ass firmly planted in your chair. Okay, appreciate that. Yes.
Different styles. We got different styles. And we've got from Bray Bray asking for a thank you for the contribution. CarEdge Insights promo code for checkout, please. Email me, Zach, Z-A-C-H, at caredge.com, and I will get you a promo code. And from Cloapo, no update on the CarEdge live event. Come on, Zach. Brandon, would you ever do one of those with us? Would you host like a live event with me and my dad? Would you be up for that?
Yeah, I was present at the last one, just in over the interwebs. But yeah, I would love to do it. Come close to me. Anywhere within 400 miles, I'll go.
Nice.
Well, why don't we plan to do a live event in the Charlotte area?
You'd be game for that?
Yeah, I would absolutely show up for that.
All right. So food for thought. Maybe there will be a live event in the future for us. Dad, can you hit us with a quick ad lib, pretty please?
Really? You gotta be kidding me.
This one's not that surprising. Fisker files for U.S. bankruptcy after cash burn quality issues with Ocean crossover. This is not the first startup electric vehicle automaker to file for bankruptcy. Remember Lordstown? That was very recent as well. First of many, gentlemen. Brandon, do you anticipate we're going to see even more EV automakers go under?
Let's see here. Let's say who the Polestar might be one that's on deck. I don't know what their capitalization's like, but Rivian's got enough cash there, and they got backers, so they're fine. I don't know who else in the space might be really hurting. Polestar might be the one that's kind of scary.
Yeah. Were you surprised by this, Dad?
Surprised. I was surprised it took this long for them to finally file for bankruptcy. Um, this is the second time Henrik Fisker has put together a car company. And this is the second time that Henrik Fisker has filed for bankruptcy on said car company. If there is a third time, I would just think that people should place an over or under as how many days it's going, days, weeks, or months it's going to take for him to declare bankruptcy on the next venture. His history is he's got some good ideas, and he doesn't have enough financial backing to really make it all work. And the ocean, when you saw pictures of it, looked really interesting. Now it turned out to be a total piece of crap, but it looked really interesting. And I was all prepared. Living here at the shore, I wanted to get an ocean.
I will tell you, Dad, I have been described that way. Look interesting, total piece of crap. Another really, you got to be kidding me. Another really got to be kidding me. Stellantis recalls nearly 1.2 million vehicles in North America. 30 recalls so far in the United States this year, trying to catch up to Ford. And we have the state police in the state of Indiana claiming that 39 of their 219 Dodge Durangos have had mechanical failure due to defective oil coolers. Also, we just figured out there where some of the fleet customers for Stellantis are. It's your local police departments that buy all the Durangos and Chargers and Challengers. But some bad headlines coming out of Stellantis town.
Well, I had one of my viewers send me some pictures of what was actually going on there. I don't know if they're involved with this or not, but showing literal oil in the coolant from the oil actually getting into the lines. Yeah.
That's not particularly good, from what I understand. And
Yeah,
I don't know much about how cars and engines work, but I'm pretty certain you're not supposed to be mixing coolant with oil in cylinder heads. I'm guessing, I'm spitballing here.
And when you see that, what happens is the engine will run hotter than it wants to, and then it can cause all kinds of problems, and it typically ends up with, especially if someone's not watching their gauges, then they can fry the motor really quickly.
We rented a Durango in Puerto Rico, and what a miserable riding vehicle that was.
To each their own. To each their own. Couple more comments here, folks. We've got from Chloepo. Thank you, Chloepo. Polestar is not going anywhere. Volvo won't let it. That's an interesting take. They've got a backer in Volvo, but at the end of the day,
well, Volvo's owned by a Chinese company, so maybe they have enough money.
Yeah, and Volvo owns 18% in it, and I can tell you with the market cap of Polestar, that's no money to Volvo. So yes, they will absolutely let it go under if it needs to.
I think Brandon's onto something there. From Come and Get It, thank you, Come and Get It. Bought a Mazda CX-90 for $58,000, Premium Plus with 8-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, maintenance and tire warranty plus other features. Was this a good deal at 1.9% interest over 72 months? 1.9% interest over 72 months is an awesome offer from Mazda. It's unclear if you got a good deal with all the add-ons and things like that, but this is a perfect example of using the community forum, which is 100% free. Take a photo of your out-the-door worksheet or your bank contract, redact your personal information, and post it on caredge.com/community. We'll put our eyes on it. We'll see if we can help you out and make sense of it.
Or if they'd like their personal information to make it to the dark web, just leave your personal information on there. And
we don't have a sponsor for today's show, Dad, but delete me. You're getting a promo on Thursday. CarEdge.com, folks. If we can help you out with anything, please check it out. Car Questions Answered and CQA Live are what you need to search in YouTube to find Brandon's channels. Brandon, happy Tuesday. Thanks for spending time with my dad and myself. Congratulations on taking a step with us to help people buy cars more easily. And enjoy the day, guys. Thanks for spending time with me.
Thank you, Brandon. It was a surprise when I saw you on my screen because, as I said, my son treats me like mushrooms. he keeps me in the dark, and he keeps poop on top of me. So there you have it.
Well, I appreciate you guys letting me come on. You know what? Next time, Ray, I'll text you when I want to come on.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. We're back 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for more news you can use. Enjoy the day, gents.
Thank you. See you.